What's good, everybody? This is Ace here with my partner Mark, and we are about that sports life. You know what we came to do? We came to talk some sports. But before we do that, man, let me chop it up with my man. What's good?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. Can't complain. Thought I got hit with an April Fool's joke today, but
Yeah, I
it's
see
not.
you.
It's very real. So we had to wear the last time. My Tar Heels won it all. We had to represent, We be back. Shout out to Roy.
Yeah, man. So I mean, it's good to reminisce on good times, man. I mean, rock out. I mean, what I will say about Roy being a Kansas fan, that his track record between Kansas and UNC is it's untouchable. You can't really say much about it. He had a great run, like across
Mm-hmm.
two schools to do what he did. Can't do nothing but tip the cap on his way out, man. Let him ride off in the sunset.
Yeah, he was talking to my dad earlier about this, and he made a good point. He was borderline Hall of Famer before he even got to North Carolina.
That's what I'm saying.
Like he built Kansas. Like Kansas was already Kansas. We're not gonna say he built Kansas, but he had them on that level of a Adolph. That's not his name. That's Kentucky. Damn, I'm
No,
forgetting it. Fogg. That's the name of the
yeah,
coach.
I was just
Kansas
gonna
coach.
say Fall Allen.
Yeah, Fogg Allen. He got it back to that level with guys like Paul Pierce and Heinrich at the end of his time there, and then he comes to Carolina right when Carolina had kind of had a dip. You know what I mean? Like Dean Smith had retired for a few years. Doherty was the coach, and it was not the same. Like it was a little bit off. They missed tournament a couple times. But as soon as Roy got there, and he had the class that he had with Raymond Felton, Sean May, and those guys brought it right back, and have been at that level ever since. And it's like to see a coach do that at two different schools at that high of a level is kind of no one else you really point to that has done that. Maybe Calipari is on that level, but he does not have the championships that Roy Williams has.
Yeah, got it done. He got it done on both schools. So like that's the thing. You can't look at his legacy and say, oh well, he couldn't get it done here, so he went here. Or
Mm-hmm.
it's not that type of story. He was excellent wherever he was, and he had a good run even up until the end. He had North Carolina still competitive, still able to bring in top recruits and sending guys to the league. So I mean, what else do you want?
Yeah, and if being a Carolina fan and all the other fans, they know that when Dean Smith originally retired, that's who they wanted. But he had such a good thing at Kansas that he was not just going to walk away from that. And you can respect that because it's like, yeah, I'm a Carolina guy. Dean Smith is my idol, all of that, my mentor. But what I'm building here is also pretty special to me. He has a deep love for Kansas. Anybody that acts like Roy Williams is strictly North Carolina does not know him because he has a deep love for the University of Kansas also. When they do when everybody does all the stuff for him next year, you're going to see a lot done in Kansas, just like you're going to see it done in North Carolina.
Yeah, now because
Uh,
the things he did at Kansas was special, just as special as we did it at UNC. And I not thankfully for him, but it also kind of lessened the blow that when he left, the coach that came behind him also brought excellence and
mm-hmm,
kept things status quo. Like Bill Self never let shit dip. He, we know the streak of Big 12 titles that came
mm-hmm.
when Bill Self got there. So in his recruiting and so it was almost like we could look at Roy and what he was doing at UNC fondly that way. We could say, look at our guy doing his thing over there. We doing our thing over here. It's all
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
it
it
never.
wasn't one of those bitter things.
Yeah, because of Bill Self, it was able to let them. It was no animosity because Bill Self has
Exactly.
done everything at Kansas that you wanted them to do. Actually,
Yeah.
that's exactly what we're hoping to have. The same type of situation is okay.
Yeah.
Roy's gone, but we need that next guy to step in. It's going to be very, very interesting to see who steps in. I said to you earlier. I've said to other people. I know Dean Smith. Like he was the coach when I became a fan, but I don't know Dean Smith. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of
Mm.
young at that point, like
Yeah.
10,
I feel
11,
the same way with Roy
12
Williams.
years old. Like, but Roy Williams is North Carolina basketball to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Like that, all I've known. He's been the coach 18 years. I'm 31. So you do the math. I was a 13-year-old when he was hired. You know what I mean? So is kind of like I never thought a coach retiring would like hit me. You know what I mean? Like that was something like whatever. He's just a coach. This one was different. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
like all right now. When it first happened, I was like April Fool's joke, whatever. Didn't even think about it. After maybe about 4 minutes, 5 minutes, there was no ha 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 from the Carolina basketball Twitter account. I was like, oh, he really retired. It's
Yeah.
really a wrap. And it was like I started to think, I'm like, yo, I don't even know Carolina without him. You know what I mean? Like I can think back, yeah. I remember the Doherty days. Joseph Forte was the best player. Remember that. I remember
Mm-hmm.
falling in love with the team with Vince Carter, Antoine Jameson, Ed Cota.
Mm-hmm.
When they made a run and they lost to Arizona in the Final Four. I remember that. But reason why I view North Carolina as like my second to only the Eagles, like it's the Eagles, it's North Carolina, and the Sixers are together. That's because of I've watched them win 3 championships in 18 years. You know what I mean? Like it went from the 05 era with Felton, Ellington, Tyler, I'm not Tyler, I'm sorry, Sean May, straight to Ty Lawson, Tyler Hansborough, Rashawn McCants, even though we don't like to say his name no more, but he was part of it, right?
Sean
And then
McCants
after
is
that,
not
the
persona
2012,
non grata.
yeah, that dude. 2012 era, they didn't win it because we know Kendall Marshall got hurt that tournament, but that team was still very good. You know, the Harrison Barnes, John Henson, Zeller. And then another 4 years, you have the most recent championship team, Joe Barry, Theo Pinson, Justin Jackson. It was like no matter the era, Roy Williams always was able to get us to the pinnacle within a 4-year span. Like it was never a time where in his era where there was an immediate and long-term drop-off. We'd have drop-off when you have a lot of juniors and seniors graduate or go to the NBA. That's expected. But immediately within a year or two after that, he would have them back. You know what I
Get him
mean?
right
And
back. Yeah,
you look
that's
at
the mark of a great college coach. Keep the
and
program going.
it kind of was continuing to about to happen like that again. They won in 17 and they were building for the Kobe White era. But Kobe had such a great freshman year under him, he left. You know what I mean? So it kind of put things in a little flux because if you look at every team Williams has had, he's had that star point guard and a big man. You know what I mean? Like they were expecting it to be Kobe White, Garrison Brooks. That was the next influx. Kobe White is a lottery pick. Can't blame him. Go top 10. You're supposed to go to the NBA. No one thought he would be that kind of kid. But it goes back when you listen to him talk about Roy Williams last year during his rookie year, and he says, yo, that dude believed in me more than I believed in myself. I mean, he gave me the keys to become a lottery pick when I was a fringe 5-star guy. Like Kobe White was a very high recruit, but he was not seen as a one and done Cole Anthony, Cade Cunningham type of player. You know what I mean?
I remember
So
it being a surprise when
he got to Carolina within the first 5 games. I'm like, hold on. I don't know, y'all. I don't think that kid gonna be here too long because he fit the style so perfectly. He was hitting the threes, and it always just goes back to Roy Williams. He put a blueprint together, and he did not break from that blueprint, no matter what other people may have wanted. Right? He doesn't break from that blueprint, and that's what I am going to miss because you never know when one era ends, what the next one begins.
Yeah. So it's always some uncertainty there. I could speak to that, from where it was to Bill Self, but not even that. I take it to, for me, when it went from, the Doc Rivers era, being a Celtics fan, to the Brad, I can't even think of my coach's
Brad
last name
Stevens.
right now, Brad Stevens era, because Doc got us a championship, sustained, contender status. He, had a culture going. When he left, it was no idea of what was going to happen. Now, Brad coming in, he may not have won us a championship at this point, but to me, his overachieving has kind of put him in the position almost that whereas you kind of at this point you expect things that should not be just expected of the team that we have. And I do credit him for that because he navigated through the years while we built, to where we are now. And that's what you want. That's what you you want somebody that coming from that uncertainty can give you a level of security where you feel like you're supposed to be a perennial contender and playoff team.
Hmm.
So, that's kind of where you guys go. So what do you say um realist say dream candidate as next coach and realistic candidate who you think it might be?
The dream is two guys, Mark Few and Jay Wright. Jay Wright has been the guy that people have always kind of said, oh, Carolina's going to chase him whenever Roy Williams leaves. But that kind of was the talk in between them winning in 2012 and 2017. You didn't know how much longer Roy was going to coach. And Jay Wright was just starting his build of Villanova. Like he was not
Mm-hmm.
what they are now. Like they've won 2 championships in the last 5 years.
Champions.
So
Yeah.
I kind of cannot see him leaving Villanova for anywhere. Like if you're not going to leave for Carolina, you're not leaving for anywhere. And that's what I think. I don't think Jay Wright leaves Villanova. I don't think Mark Few leaves Gonzaga. Just definitely not now. Like the team he has now is not going anywhere. Like, yeah, Jalen Suggs is leaving. Yeah, Chris Pitt may leave, but they have studs coming in right after that. like Hunter
Yeah.
Sales is a stud. You know what I mean? Like the kid Chet Holmgren is a stud. Like
That hungry.
he has Gonzaga recruiting and playing at the level of the Kansases, Carolinas, Dukes. So it's no point for him to really leave there. Unless this was a dream of his growing up, that's a little different. You know what I mean? Then maybe you tug at some heartstrings and you'll get them. Kind of like what happened with Roy Williams leaving Kansas. Those are the dreams. Realistically, if they go outside of the school, I see maybe Scott Drew from Baylor. Maybe Brad Stevens if he's let go by the Celtics, if he wants to come back to college basketball. Those are realistic outside of Carolina, but I think they're going to stay in-house. And to me, that means it's either going to be Jerry Stackhouse, Hubert Davis, or Wes Miller. We know Stackhouse is at Vanderbilt. Hubert Davis was an assistant, been an assistant for a long time. And Wes Miller is a former assistant and player also. And he's the head coach at UNC Greensboro right now. So I think one of those three will be the coach. My pick out of those guys is Stackhouse, one for the name, two for the attitude that he knows everything Carolina basketball is. He was there during a winning time, and he's going to be able to relate to this era of kid. You know what I mean? To be able to keep the kids they have already, because they have a pretty good team and they have some guys coming in too. So you don't want to lose that nucleus, but then you want to be able to continue to build to get back to championship competing level where they're not at currently. So I think Stackhouse is that's where my main desire is outside of the Mark Few and J. Wright.
Yeah, I mean, out of those guys that you said, the realistic options, I would say I would love to see Stackhouse get a shot. Um, like I said, the name, and also I believe that Stackhouse might be able to bring, in recruiting wise, bring in the type of player that maybe a Roy Williams couldn't at this point in his career. Being able to speak to being a all-star in the NBA, to where he could say, I can get you there. I know how to get you there. Roy could say the same thing. Of course, he sent many, many guys to the NBA, but not
Not a
there's no
person.
tape. Yeah, there's no tape of Roy Williams in the NBA. It's tape
No.
of Stackhouse doing what he do. So,
At 30.
exactly. So, you can speak to that, to today's player. And I think he can speak to, the player of today, which is the player of today is not necessarily gonna just be drawn to UNC.
Yeah.
They're drawn to who can get me where I need to go. And that's where I think, and that's not just a UNC thing. That's affecting most of the major blue bloods, what you want to call them, the major schools. That's going to be a change that's going to have to happen
Mm-hmm.
pretty soon. Roy Williams being one of the coaches, Coach K also. I mean, as great as Coach K has been, as many guys that have he's sent to the league and have looked up to Coach K, coaching Team USA. I do feel like at a certain point, that voice got to change. That something has to change there. But I think Duke may be in a slightly bit of a better position because they've had a lot more, I think, former players that have been coaching
Mm-hmm.
into coaching or and been in that system. So I think their changeover might be a little bit smoother transition.
Yeah. When I think of Duke, what I say about K, you said it. Team USA is what allowed Duke to take this extra boom. I
Yeah,
mean, Duke's always been there. Like I'm a North Carolina fan because I'm gonna talk my trash about Duke all the time. They are still little brother. I don't care how much y'all think y'all that came and are above us. No, you still have less championships. We still have won the most recent one. You just caught broomsticks this year, so calm down. But that USA basketball thing, I really think, is what made
yeah.
Krzyzewski be able to start getting the Zions, the Brandon
Mm-hmm.
Ingrams, the Jason Tatums. That's not what he was getting before. Yes, Grant Hill's a great player. Yes, Jay Williams was a very good player. Elton Brand, but they all were kind of alike. You know what I mean? They weren't getting the, I'm trying to say it in a professional way, they weren't getting the inner city kid. They were getting more of the suburban black kid, the suburban athlete, right? That Team USA thing boosted him. And I really think, no, we may not be able to get a Team USA coach, but the same thing Michigan has done with Juwan Howard is why I want Stackhouse.
Yeah,
Juwan Howard and Stackhouse are from the same era where these kids now, parents, watched them. So it's a
exactly.
difference. Like if when Juwan Howard walks in and the dad is in as much awe as the kid, that's a big influence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you because
That's how you
the
get the
kid at the
different
end of the
kids.
day is gonna look at the parent. That as much as these kids know and are more knowledgeable than the kid of that past era, they still are gonna look to their parent and when the parent says, "No, that's Juwan Howard, that's Fast
Yes.
Five, that's," and then
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Stackhouse, that's Stackhouse. I saw
Mm-hmm.
billboards of him in Philly. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
It's a
you
little
know,
different. Like
it
I,
gets
I think the kid Wes Miller, he's kind of young, but I do think he would do well, and he has that ability to be there long term. But he doesn't have that. Oh, I'm an NBA All Star. Oh, I played against this Allen. I played with Allen Iverson. Oh, I
exactly.
played against Kobe Bryant. That's enough. That's something that's not every program can have. You know what I mean? And when you have it, you should take advantage of it. I don't care that he did not win at Vanderbilt. People keep saying it to me, oh, why you want him? He proved that, yeah, he may be an okay coach, but he can't win. Look what he did at Vanderbilt. I said, bro, when has Vanderbilt ever been anything? Like, what did you expect
Those
him to
schools are going to
do?
take time.
Like,
That's
like
why and like what Jawan Howard did at Michigan was only because that's Michigan.
it's
Like it
Michigan.
was a perfect
Exactly.
marriage. But like when you got a Patrick Ewing at Georgetown, a Penny at Memphis, it's going to take time for that effect to be to see for you to see it, for them to get those recruits to build that team to bring the team where it needs to go. Like we talked about Mark Few. What he's doing right now has never been seen at Gonzaga. Gonzaga was not this type of school, but it took time, and he built that. He built that.
He built that.
Now Brad Stevens isn't there, but what Brad Stevens was building at Butler, same type of thing. He
Yep.
was building something there. Of course, when the NBA came calling, he left. But it's the same type of thing. It takes a while for those guys that are great coaches. Shaka Smart, he's
Mm-hmm.
moved around a couple times, so we haven't really got to see
I
how it
don't.
works for him.
Yeah, I don't understand this recent leave, but well,
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I think he should have
because
stayed at Texas.
I actually think he was getting over the hump at Texas
That's what
right
I'm
now. I
saying.
thought this was the time now to get over the hump, and Chris Beard's going to take them to the next level because Chris Beard's a very good coach. Memphis, Penny kind of had the quick, immediate turnaround. Like Memphis was struggling a little bit after Calipari left. They hadn't been up tournament contending team. And no, they didn't make the tournament this year, but they should have. They went to the NIT championship game. But I kind of view where Memphis is right now, exactly where North Carolina was in 2010, right? We went to NIT. We had lost that whole 09 team that won the championship. So 10 or 11, we went to the NIT championship game. And then the next year or two, they were Final Four ready. You know what I mean? Like I said, if Kendall Marshall doesn't get hurt, they probably make the Final Four. That's the same year with I think it was Kansas that played Kentucky because that's Anthony Davis and them. They won it. Yeah, that's the same year. Like if Kendall Marshall doesn't get hurt, it was Creighton, I believe. No, what's his name? Doug McDermott. What school was he at? Creighton. Yeah. He got hurt versus them, beat them, but whatever. They're right there. I really believe Memphis next season with that class he had, he's already brought in, and he has a nice group coming in again. I know he lost the kid Boogie Ellis today, but they lost him because he already has somebody pushing him. I think Memphis is ready to take that next leap that Penny was brought in to get them to. You know what I mean? Like you said, it does not happen in 1 year when
It's
you
got
didn't
it
have
takes a little, that effect takes time because you got to remember when the coach comes in, he's going to inherit whatever team is there.
Mm-hmm.
So, it might not be a great team, but he's going to work with it. They have to. It's what the team. You can't just get rid of all the kids. So you got to matriculate those kids out and bring the kids in that you are recruiting and wanting to bring in, and that takes a little bit of time. But then you'll see the effects of that. You usually will see the effects of that.
Yeah, that's what I
Coach
think.
K at Kentucky is a big example. He went from Memphis to Kentucky, and you saw what he brought there. You saw what happened.
Yep, like I think Stackhouse would like the team he has now, because it seems like I think some of these kids may have known there was a chance Roy was leaving. So I don't think they're going to lose too much of who they already had. They already lost Walker Kelser, still mind blowing, but whatever. Dayron Sharp, we knew was a one and done kid. Garrison Brooks graduates. You get those guys are gone, yeah, but Caleb Love is coming back. RJ Davis, like they have a nucleus in place. And I believe if you get Stackhouse to come in this year, say you make the tournament next year, win a game or two, that following season when class of 2023 sees that, oh, Jerry Stackhouse has Carolina still on that level, I'm going. I'm okay with still going there. I'm okay with keeping them in my top 5. Then you see the leap, and now it just takes off where it's Stackhouse's era. Juwan Howard, it's Michigan. Michigan is Juwan Howard for as long as Juwan Howard wants to be at Michigan. Like he got him back that fast, and they're like you said, they were never down. They're down for their standard, but now they're not. And they have this kid, Caleb Houston, coming next year, and Kobe Buffkin to go along with what they already have. Michigan can easily win a national championship just like that. And it'll be Juwan Howard's, third year, fourth year? Like, that's the same type of effect I think Stackhouse can have. And that's why I believe that's the guy they should go with if they want to stay strictly within the bubble of Carolina basketball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Definitely one of the most high-profile coaching jobs in America, and period. But let's change gears a little bit to this year's Final Four. So we got our Final Four. I feel like I'm gonna mess this up. I don't know why. I feel like I just put myself in the spot. Gonzaga, Baylor, UCLA,
Houston.
Houston. Now, obviously, we have a favorite. I mean,
you definitely have a favorite.
We can't really. Obviously, we
definitely have a favorite.
Obviously, Gonzaga has showed itself to be, the better team. Now, if you're going who would you say if you're going to take the field? Who are you picking beyond Gonzaga?
Baylor. Well, they got to play UCLA first, so I can't take them.
Yeah.
It would be Baylor. I think Houston plays a very aggressive defensive style that could help them, but they can't score enough. Baylor gives you the mix of both. Also, Baylor also has NBA talent, and that's what I think you need. Gonzaga is so good because they have multiple NBA players on that team.
And they play NBA style.
Yes, and that's 2 lottery picks.
Yeah, and
maybe the number 2 pick. Jalen Suggs may go number 2 overall.
Yeah, like what I noticed in this tournament, and especially the last 2 games for Gonzaga, is it's not even so much the NBA talent, which they do have NBA talent. It's the style. They play the NBA space and pace, drive and kick, pick and roll. Like they play that style, and with the talent that they have, that style is going to be very hard to beat in this one and done game format. Like that's a hard style to beat on any night.
Mm-hmm. That's why they're able to score 90 points, man. Like you said, they don't play to slow it down. College basketball, 4 or 5 passes here and there. No, they're getting out and running. You know what I mean? Kind of like we see with the Carolinas and the Kentuckys. Like that's how they play. UCLA a lot of times. That's how that those type of teams play, and that's how Gonzaga's playing right now. You know what I mean? And I don't see a team beating them, to be honest. Like, I got them winning it all. But I
Yeah, I
do
don't.
think Baylor gives us the best game because they also have that talent level with Davion Mitchell. He's going to be able to, he has size. So him and Suggs, that's going to be a very dynamic matchup. But like you said, it's just too much on Gonzaga to say that someone's beating them. Like, I'd easily bet them over the field. And, that's not usually what's done.
Yeah, and that's to me because like I said again, with Gonzaga, it's the style, but also the players in that playing. Like Jalen Suggs being able to get into the paint at will, get wherever he wants at will, is going to disrupt any type of defense that you want to throw at him. And then you got a Kispert that's going to be able to hit any type of open shot. And then you got the big that's
Timmy.
It's just Tim. It's just it's too much to me.
It's too much.
I don't think that there's a team out there that can match with that. I just don't see it.
I thought Michigan was that team before they lost Livers. Once they lost Livers, I knew they were not in trouble in terms of making
they had
a deep
ceiling. They had a ceiling at that point.
They had a ceiling. And I think, honestly, they might have underestimated UCLA a little bit early in that game. That's why they got in a hole. We saw in the second half they were able to fight their way back, but it was a little too much. Plus, UCLA just seems to be playing. It seems to be like a little destiny, kind of type of thing, because you got kids like Johnny Juzang playing like a lottery pick right now. I know he was a big-time recruit, went to Kentucky his first year, didn't work out there, came back to home to UCLA. He's a California kid, and he's showing a lot. And then the point guard, Tiger Campbell, is showing a lot. Like, they have players, but I think Michigan probably felt as though the test is next week.
Looking past.
They were
I think that
already
Michigan was looking past. Yeah, you said that
they knew we have to play Gonzaga in the Final Four. We got to beat Gonzaga to get to the championship. And I think they overlooked UCLA. They were, when I've seen it even with North Carolina. When you get right to the pinnacle and there's only one more game to get to that Final Four, sometimes that game trips you up. You know what I mean? Like, because you're so focused on Final Four.
I think the difference for Gonzaga is why they won't fall into that trap is because they have another goal beyond going to win, getting the Final Four and winning the chip. They trying to do this perfection. They haven't lost yet.
Yeah.
So that will give them a different motivation in every game. Because if they showing up to each game saying we can't lose anything because we have to do this perfect, then they're going to show up with a different type of motivation in each game. So I don't see them overlooking anybody.
Yeah, and I think we saw that same thing with the Kentucky team before they lost to Duke. They lost to Wisconsin. It was the same thing. But I think with that Kentucky team, two things got them. They were stressing about going perfect, and they were too young. Gonzaga doesn't have that problem. You know what I mean? Like, that Kentucky team wasn't the 80 team. It was the Towns and Booker and that team. They were all freshmen, sophomores. You know what I mean? Like, they got into that situation against Wisconsin. Frank Kaminsky was the senior. Like, and that's what bit them. Gonzaga has two freshmen really. The rest of them are older guys. Kispert's a junior. Timmy, I think, is a senior. Like, they have tournament experience already. You know what I mean? And another thing is they thought they could win it all last year. So they're trying to make up for that. That's the same thing with Baylor too. Baylor was right there last year. Like, Kansas was the other team with them that you all thought that they could have won it. And when you come back this year, you're like, yo, nothing's stopping us. You know what I mean? Nothing's stopping us. It's just like when North Carolina, we lost to Villanova. Remember when Chris Jenkins made that shot, 2016, beat Carolina in the championship? It was no stopping North Carolina that next season. They had already tasted it. You know what I mean? They had already tasted it. It was nothing that was stopping them from getting back to that game. It was a chance maybe they lost the championship game because the championship game, but Gonzaga gave us a good fight, but North Carolina knew what the goal was. Gonzaga knows the goal is to go perfect, and the goal is to finally get their first championship. I don't see them being stopped.
Yeah, I don't see anything stopped. I'm like, that offense, those players, I can't see that being stopped. I'm just like, I don't think anybody has the talent to do it right now. This year that's left. I just don't see it.
I will say Gonzaga, they're benefiting from a down year from the top teams also. All right. They're talented. I'm not taking nothing from them. They're a very good team. They probably still be in this situation in a normal year, but this is not a normal year. If they had to deal with Duke, Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas at their best, I don't know if we're talking about them as they got it. You know what I mean? Like it would be more of a regular Final Four. Oh, we'll see. You know what I mean? Like
they'll be
right
swimming
now,
with
it's a them.
swimming with some.
Yeah, right now it's a them, and if they blow it, they blew it. You know what I mean? Like, we will
Exactly.
not be
They'd have to
talking
blow it.
about.
Yeah, and that's a good point. For them to lose, I think they'd have to blow it.
They have to blow it.
I don't think there's a team that's going to beat Gonzaga playing at their best.
No,
Gonzaga's going to have to blow it again.
I don't even think they have to play at their like. Yes, you want to play at your best, but I think they could have an off night and then not get them beat. I think they literally have to have a terrible night. Like, because that second, like they did not play that great in the second half versus who they just play. I'm sorry, blanking. They just beat
I can't even think.
Hold on, I know what it is. They just played. How am I blanking that fast? Who did they just beat?
Ain't gonna make me have to look it up. Oregon State keep popping up, but I don't think it wasn't Oregon State.
USC. Oregon State lost to Houston. Yeah, as soon as you said Oregon State, that's not. They lost to Houston. Yeah. They played USC, dominated them in the first half, looked like themselves in the first half. In the second half, this was the first time I noticed they weren't playing their best basketball.
Yeah, they took their feet off the gas.
They took their foot off the pedal, and not even their foot. I think they took their mental off the pedal because they knew USC couldn't come back on them. You know what I mean? You cannot do that to Baylor. You do that against Baylor, Baylor might beat you.
Yeah, you'll get beat.
I mean? Like that talent level gap is not as big as it is from them to USC.
But to me, that's the problem though, for Baylor. Once they get to see Baylor, it's not going to be to the championship, and I don't see that happening at all whatsoever in that championship game.
Yeah, when the title's in the way, when the title's there, you don't slip.
Yeah, I don't see it
for the whole time.
Yeah. They're gonna be playing until they're gonna play past that last buzzer. They're not stopping. I mean, and that's how champions play. Like they just gonna go get it. And I don't see too much in their way. I mean, it's good teams, but I don't think anybody's on Gonzaga's level.
You know, that's why like I see people say some crazy things like, oh, they're one of the best teams of all time. Is Gonzaga the best team of all time? And I'm saying, okay, they're good. They're probably going to be remembered type of team. But when you don't have a test, I can't call you the best team. You know what I mean? Like there has not been a test. You know what I mean? Like this year, they've cruised through every round. They cruised through the regular season. I know they had some of their home. I know they had some pre-non-conference games erased because of COVID, right? I think they were scheduled to play North Carolina. I know that it didn't happen. They played Kansas or they played Kentucky. One of them
they
two.
beat us. They
played Kansas, but they had multiple games because Mark Few knew this is the team, and I want to prove something this year. You know what I mean? Like last time they had a team on that level was when they played North Carolina in 2017, and they got to the big dog and they lost. You know what I mean? And they got put in that same Gonzaga role. Because remember, most of the time we always look at Gonzaga as, y'all good, but y'all never get over the hump. You know what I mean?
Gonzaga is been able to go over classic mid-major that is a good team, but
like now, like I said, we said here before, I'm sick of them being in this conference they in. Y'all not no mid-major no more. Go to the Pac-12. It's time for y'all to go to the Pac-12. Yeah. You stay on the West Coast, still recruit your saved kids. He's already getting guys from other places to come there. Like now it's time to step up and play big boy basketball. Like,
I would agree.
Especially after winning the national championship. No more of this West Coast conference stuff. Stop.
Gonzaga, everybody knows about Gonzaga. But Gonzaga, I mean, in my household, we're Jayhawks fans. Everybody. That's just a requirement. I don't even put that requirement on football. One of my sons likes the Eagles. One of my sons likes the Panthers. That's fine with me. Be your own man. We Jayhawks fans in here. Watch out. That's it. But
Mhm.
I'll say it as my wife knows Gonzaga. She don't know none of these other teams, but she knows Gonzaga. Every time she sees, oh, Gonzaga playing, like she she does her little bracket at work. It's always,
Mhm.
Gonzaga's a team. Gonzaga's not a mid-major anymore. They're not,
No.
they're a household name. They're a
Yeah.
great team at this point. And like you said, it's time to graduate.
Time to graduate. Time to. I don't want to see y'all go 30-1 in the West Coast Conference no more. Like it's gonna become boring. I'm telling you. Like it's gonna become okay. Y'all just killing these chumps. Like we're not impressed anymore. It was impressive at a point. It's impressive this year because it's done at a different level than they've ever done it before, and because of the players they have. Now that that's going to continue. Now that you got now you got two more top 10 kids coming. Nah, bro, you can't be playing BYU as your toughest test.
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
see that. That's
Exactly.
no.
We're
It's
not
time
doing
to
this
move on.
cruise through the season anymore. We're not
Yeah,
doing
nah,
that.
nah, that's whack. Like go to the Pac-12, play UCLA, play USC, play Arizona, play Stanford. Now let's talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that's how Mark Few becomes a legend. That's how he gets his Hall of Fame stamp. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
may get all the respect. You won all these games at Gonzaga. You went to the Final Four. You've been to a championship game. You may even win one this year. Cool. But you get that stamp. You become a Roy Williams, a Dean Smith, a Bill Self, a Jay Wright when you go play what they play.
Yeah, you play that schedule. You go through that
That
shark
gauntlet.
infested water. You gotta dip your toe in there.
Mm-hmm.
Then you gotta jump in. Like right now they dipping their toe. The Zag's dipping their toe in
Yeah,
the shark.
play.
Now you
We'll
gotta
play.
jump in.
We'll pick and choose one of y'all. We're gonna play, but
Yeah.
we gonna play our chumps. But we see y'all again in the tournament. And I think in previous years, that's what's called that. That's why they stumbled because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they played some good teams in the early part of the year, but then they went 3 months of playing nobody. Then you get to the tournament and you play a good team in a Sweet 16, and they not scared of you.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna come. Even this year, I mean, you gotta respect the talent, but when you see the name on your schedule, it's not the same. It's not the same right now. It's still not the same as Gonzaga, and you're still going to look at a Kentucky, even though they don't have the same the level of talent. You look at that name different,
Mm-hmm.
but Gonzaga can be that name, like you said. If they go to Pac-12 and they dominate the Pac-12, like
Oh yeah,
they could possibly,
oh yeah.
that
That's how you get like Villanova.
yeah, that changes the narrative. Exactly. Hey, good. Yeah, that's a good comparison. Exactly.
Because
Change the narrative.
Villanova plays in the Big East. Well,
Yeah.
it's changed now, but that's how they got there. Like you knew
Yeah.
they were playing against the best competition. Yes, they at one point they were a mid-major or whatever, but since like the mid '80s or whatever, they've been playing the best teams, and that's why he's able. That's why Jay Wright has the program he has now. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
right now, Gonzaga is Gonzaga because of Mark Few. But if Mark Few leaves, you ain't gonna be talking about no Gonzaga.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how
Falls
you don't
all
like.
falls
If
apart.
Mark Few wants to leave a legacy, he has to take them to another program conference, sustain success there, and now Gonzaga enters the ranks of the Dukes, North Carolina, Kansas, Kentucky, Villanova, UCLA. Now you're with them. Now it's
Yeah,
no more of a Zags. Oh, who are those guys? No, it's yeah, them.
yeah. Gonzaga. Which they, I mean,
They
he's
are
done
there.
a Mark Few has done a lot to get him there, but that would be the last step. That's what
Mm-hmm.
needs to happen to get him there permanently. But all right, let's change gears a bit. We'll have a lot to talk about the Final Four next week once it goes down, and we have our champion. But let's talk. Where we want to go? So much to talk about. Let's talk NFL. Let's go NFL, and then we'll come back to basketball again. The NFL draft is a little under a month away, a couple days shy of a month away. Um, uh, I don't know if we have our draft order because trades could still happen at any
Yep.
point. But at least we know a couple teams that we could probably say are not going to be moving, and that's probably the 49ers, Jets. Well, Jets might move. Let me not even put the Jets in because I'm not sure about the Jets. Yeah, we know the Jags are one, and we know who they're taking. Um, I mean, we can kind of go down the line, and it's a few teams that we're probably pretty sure are going to stay where they are, thereabouts. But my main um, topic I really want to talk about is how do you feel like, without having the traditional combine this year, that these college pro days that have been going on, which is where teams are getting most of their data, most of their information, most of the numbers on these kids, and actually getting a chance to see these kids since the season ended and zero in. We've had, you know, Alabama's had two already.
Mm-hmm.
We've had Ohio State with Justin Fields,
Mm-hmm.
Trey Lance. We've had what other teams?
LSU's done
Florida,
it.
LSU. So the big schools, the main
Pretty much
guys.
all of them at this point are done.
Yeah, pretty much everybody that's notable. But my real question is, well, how do you think that these pro days have affected the draft? Um, you feel like it's affected the draft in any real way, or people were going to pick who they're going to pick either way?
I think it may have more of effect in the middle rounds than the early rounds because I think unlike every other year, this was kind of the first time a lot of teams were able to see some guys. You know what I mean? Like we don't have visits and all of that. Everything's virtual right now, phone
Mm-hmm.
calls, Zoom. So these pro days are where these teams are seeing some guys that are maybe off the radar. Some, you know what I mean? Like you may have somebody at one of these pro days that shines and moves from being on somebody's board as a fifth rounder and moves to a third rounder. Like I don't think it's going to affect the top of the draft. Like I think the guys we think like the Justin Fields, the Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase. I feel like they all were already top 10 picks. I don't think anything they did at their pro day was going to affect that unless they bombed it or unless they got hurt. What I kind of find funny about the pro days right now, well, not me, I've noticed a lot of people say is that they're not believing the times. Like, oh, too many people are running these low times without a combine this year. We don't know if those numbers are real. And I think that's silly because
Yeah,
teams are at these things. Like you can't fabricate something that scouts and
everybody's there to
the
see.
teams are there. Like I
Yeah,
understand last year that should have been the talk. There were no pro days. So you had a lot of agents created pro days. That's where you get funny numbers. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like somebody like they looked at when Kyle Pitts ran a 4.44. And I see the guy, like he's watching it and he plays it over and over. He's like, nah, that don't look like no 4.44. Like, nah, I've seen guys run 4.4s. He ain't running that fast. I'm like, bro, what? What are you talking about? Like, you know how many people are out there with their stopwatch
yeah.
clocking?
Exactly.
Like,
It's not one. That's not
it's
one
not one
person's.
person. If Florida puts out that he ran a 4.4, but somebody from the Giants clocked him in at 4.7, the that report's coming out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you can't. I don't understand this questioning of the
Well, what I
times.
think is it's less of a are the numbers real and more of a can we believe the numbers as much as all right. This is a different situation than where the usual 40 times come from. The combine is a different situation than these pro days.
Mm-hmm.
Reason number one is these pro days are a controlled environment. You're at your field with your people. You're very comfortable. It's not the combine. The combine is the combine for a reason. It's a
Mm-hmm.
competitive atmosphere. You're gonna,
All
the,
day. Yep.
yeah, you're doing stuff all day. It's not you just waiting around until it's your turn and you run and then I don't want to do this drill. I don't want to do no combine. You show up. You do what if you do what you need to do to get we
Mm-hmm.
so it's just a different type of atmosphere. Like what we know is that under the best conditions, Kyle Pitts can run a 4.4.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we know from that. Let's not act like the numbers fake. Let's just understand that what it really is. If
Mm-hmm.
everything is great, he can run a 4.4. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So
Also,
that's what we really need to understand.
the pro days, having the pro day, it allows they have longer time. I mean, the combine is
Mm-hmm.
usually in the beginning of February, so there's less
Yeah.
of a time for you to practice something. You know what I mean? 40 time can really be affected by practice in the form and the technique. So he
Yeah.
now had since the end of the season until the end of March to perfect that. So yes, his time's going to be better, right? Than he may have ran it at the combine. But I'm really mind blown by how many people I've seen to go, oh, I don't believe none of these numbers this year because it wasn't no combine. I'm like, yo, they're at their pro day, bro. Like, you know how many teams is there? You cannot
Yeah.
fabricate something when there's 40 scouts sitting there watching it at the same time. They all had their stopwatch. Yes, it may be off by a second or two based on who presses it faster as the guy crosses. Yeah, a tenth of a second or something like that. But you're not going to have a kid run a 4.3, and somebody else had him as a 4.6, and they like the school reports a 4.3 and nobody says nothing. Like, no, if a school fabricated a time, some scout is leaking that to Adam Schefter, like, nah, he ain't run that.
Yeah, that didn't happen. That
Like,
happens.
stop.
And in today's day and age, that's out immediately. That would be
Immediately.
refuted immediately. Like, there's no way
Right.
that they would be able to get this stuff off. But what I would say is this, to what you said, as far as more the later rounds, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that, but you probably got some guys that weren't going to get drafted or were going to get drafted much later that probably shot up once they saw him at the pro day. It could be something like stories we've seen in the past where there's a quarterback throwing to a receiver. They might have went there to look at the quarterback, but then they spot the receiver. So probably a lot more of that happening. So that's a good point. And I know a guy that's probably already affected too. Not gonna be able to think his name. Not Jamar Chase, the other receiver. What's his name?
Therese Marshall Jr.
Terrace. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it was. I wanted to call him Terrence, but it's Terrace. Yeah,
Terrace.
I
Yeah,
think I do believe he gets picked earlier than we thought because I heard a
yeah,
lot of
yeah. He might
good
go
reviews
into the
about
first
him.
round now. They said he
Yeah,
he's not Chase, but it's not much off either. Yeah,
exactly.
so he probably will sneak into the back of the first round now, early second. That's a name that a lot of Eagles fans want now that we're out of the Chase Pitts area. Like if we take a corner at 12, Therese Marshall is someone that like they're hoping falls at 37. But like you said, I kind of think he put himself in the first round conversation, especially when you look at the teams at the back of the first round. You have the Ravens could use a receiver.
That's the name I hear.
Yeah,
With the
like
Ravens a lot.
what's some great say? Dang, Jacksonville has another later pick that they could use another guy. Got what was it? Oh, Cleveland. You don't know what they're gonna do. They really at this point really only have Beckham and Landry, but Beckham is a question mark of how much longer he's going to be there. Same for Landry, so he could be taken to that spot. So New Orleans lost Emmanuel Sanders. Like there's too many teams at the back of the first round where I don't see him sliding to the second round. That same could be said about Rashad Bateman. His pro day was today, even though they were listing him at 6'2" at Minnesota. See, this is what I mean exactly like we were just talking about. Minnesota has listed him at 6'2" his whole career there, right? He has his pro day today. He has his pro day today, and he's 6'3". You know what I mean? He's like a little under 6'1", and we all know that now because they're not letting that slide. You know what I mean? So that's exactly what I mean. Like if Minnesota reported one thing, but other people see something else, that information's coming out.
And that has worked in favor of some players as well. I mean, because you got a guy like Justin Fields who measured all of 6'3", 240. So that's multiple teams there to witness that. So this is a bigger guy that we're talking about at this point. We're not talking about
runner.
Yeah,
let's talk
exactly.
about Justin Fields. I'm glad you brought him up. It's getting ridiculous how some players every year are nitpicked, and everything's trying to be broken down to find a flaw when they showed you in college an elite level. I understand trying to nitpick a guy that's maybe fringe good or has a chance to be a good player, but what you saw Justin Fields do against Clemson is not normal. What you saw Deshaun Watson do against Alabama a couple years ago is not normal. That's them showing you they're exceptional. You saw Justin Fields come in from the day uno at Ohio State, take the job from who? Mr. Burrow, right? And run with it. I mean, I'm sorry, Haskins was the guy that Haskins had a job and then Justin Fields, Burrow left. But Justin Fields at no point showed you anything where you should be saying, "Oh, he can't do this, he can't do that." Oh, because now it's talking about, "Oh, is he smart enough to process this?" You know why I know he's smart enough? Because that for a year he was learning the Georgia system, and then the next year he went to Ohio State and he learned that system, and he started from day one. Like all this nitpicking is how you're going to end up. No disrespect to Mac Jones, he may end up being a good quarterback. But doing what is happening now is how you end up with a Trubisky over Watson. Mac Jones may not be as bad as Trubisky, but
And
I'm
Fields may
saying
not be
right
as
now,
good as Watson.
yeah,
But
the Fields may not be Watson, but I promise you, Justin Fields is going to be better than Mac Jones. And that San Francisco, if you make that mistake, you're going to regret it. Like
here's my
it's
thing. Here's my view on it. Now, I understand both sides of it. Now, I don't understand all the nitpicking on Fields. I'm like, relax with it. Like, leave it alone at this point. You said what you said. You guys like Mac Jones. If you like Mac Jones, you like Mac Jones. Leave it at that. But I think that the difference between Mac Jones and Fields and why Mac Jones could possibly be the pick over Fields is only, to me, the fit in the system. I do feel like Mac Jones and his skill set for today, like I believe that the 49ers believe that once they're healthy next year, they are still a contending team. We got to
absolutely,
remember that they're only a year removed from a Super Bowl
absolutely.
appearance.
Injury
So
stopped them. Yep.
exactly, they still believe that they're a healthy team, asterisk next to healthy quarterback, away from being a contending team. So I don't know. I feel like the difference between Mac Jones and Fields is more the fit right away in that offense. I believe
Maybe,
Justin
maybe.
Fields is the more talented player
Yeah.
and will be. But I do believe that Mac Jones, you can insert him into what they do with the talent around him, and they'll be solid, right? Like from day one with Mac Jones because of his accuracy. Um, and what the his skill set that he brings to the table fits what they want to do.
So
And
for
that's
you, if they take Jones, right, you believe he should start over Garoppolo?
uh and that's another thing. I also believe it that pick is going to come down to whether or not you are seriously thinking about keeping Garoppolo. If they mean what they say about keeping Garoppolo, then I think that it's Fields all day,
That
or even or even Trey Lance over Mac
yeah,
Jones if that's the case.
yeah.
But if you're looking for somebody to start day one, then it's Mac Jones for that team
Okay.
only is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Now I asked that because of what you just said. They're talking like they're not getting rid of Garoppolo, right? So if you're doing that, it only makes Justin Fields is the perfect thing then. If you feel like he needs to work on his progressions and going from read 1 to 2 to 3 and back to 1 if he has to, if you feel like that's his issue, just like they thought Andy Reid said I had to work on that with Mahomes, if you think that's the thing, okay, let Garoppolo play for the year and then give it to him and he's going to blow up. He's going to take off, right?
And I think
If
I also
Garoppolo's playing for this season, then it
yeah.
doesn't make any sense to me why you take Jones over Fields. I could kind of get what you're saying. If all right, if y'all moving on from Garoppolo and you feel like Mac Jones already does that progression stuff, and he's very accurate. I give him that, right? And there, San Francisco is not really worrying about the whole mobile quarterback thing. All right, if Garoppolo's out the way, and y'all want to just say, okay, Jones is going to do it from now. That's why we're leaning that way, even though the other guy's a little more talented. Understandable. But if you're going to sit Mac Jones for 8 weeks or whatever they sit him for, I totally don't understand it because in that situation, you go with the guy with the more talent.
Yeah, no, I agree. I that's why I said I only will agree. I only understand that Jones over Fields or Lance if you're playing him right now and you're the 49ers. 'Cause I feel like 49ers have the line that does not necessarily need a mobile quarterback. They
Yeah, I
have
agree. They
the
have good.
talent where it's more give them the ball and let them go do what they need to do.
Yep.
That's why I say, okay, you could get a Mac Jones because you don't necessarily need that skill set of a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance. I do think both of those guys are more talented than Jones. All that. That's my thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see the pick. And that's pretty much what I say with that. But if I'm the 49ers, I feel like you kind of owe it, not owe it, but I feel like you might as well give Jimmy a chance to show that he can give you a healthy season. That's my thoughts on it beyond the draft or anything. I always felt like, I don't know if Jimmy's injuries haven't been injury-prone injuries. Like the dude's had an ACL. Like dudes have ACLs. Like that's a thing. Like it's not necessarily a injury-prone type of injury to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's how I feel.
I don't know if it's like injury prone, but he's been hurt every year.
Yeah,
like literally every year.
Like I said, I would draft the quarterback for sure, but I do feel like you owe Garoppolo a chance to show that he can stay healthy and be the quarterback for that team.
All right, if he shows it, then what?
Then you got your quarterback of the future still, but you got your quarterback now.
You still trade Garoppolo. All right, just making sure.
Yeah.
You're saying
you have your quarterback of the future still, but
you do what Kansas City did regardless. If Garoppolo can still play this year, example. Yeah, you let Garoppolo, all right, yeah, you proved that you had a good year. Cool, we enjoy it. We trading you. I mean, that's what you do. Like, even more reason why you pick Justin Fields. I'm sorry. I want Justin Fields in San Francisco or Atlanta because I really think both those situations for him will be perfect because I do think he needs to sit for some time.
Unfortunately, the latest information that we've seen is he doesn't end up in either of those places. But I do think where they got him ending up now is not bad.
Carolina.
From what I'm seeing, I'm seeing a lot of Patriots. I'm seeing the Patriots trading up.
They have to trade up though.
Yeah, I see the Patriots trading up and getting them, and I like that. I like him sitting behind Cam.
For him sitting behind Cam is amazing. Yeah,
half a season.
But I'm looking at just the draft right now of how it's set. Atlanta to me,
because the only thing
I think Atlanta.
I would love Atlanta. I love Atlanta.
That's where he's from. They already have the weapons. Their O-line is not terrible, but it's not great either. But it's enough where you let Matt Ryan play out this year. Matt Ryan has an out on his contract next year. You groom Fields. He takes over. You got Ridley. The rest of what you guys do in the draft, you don't have to trade up. You don't have to do anything but continue to build your team and transfer it over to him the next year. Like, I think that's the perfect situation in San Francisco, Atlanta, and Carolina. You could let Bridgewater play for another year. Carolina sneaky would be nice for him too.
I like any of those spots for
New England. New England has to move up, and if they do that, cool, right? That's a great situation. That would work out well for him. But I'm just going to go off what we know now, the order we know now.
Yeah.
Carolina at 8 is the lowest I see him go.
Yeah, but I'm starting to hear it's starting to get a little bit more solidified of like what teams are planning to do. Like the fuzziest team to me is still the Jets, although they've been penciled in with Zach Wilson. If they don't take Zach Wilson, that changes everything.
Yeah.
It just changes the entire draft. But
it changes everything.
It changes the entire draft.
Everything.
Let's say that they do take Zach Wilson.
I think they are.
I'm hearing a lot more of Kyle Pitts at 4 to Atlanta, which makes perfect sense.
I've seen that too.
That makes perfect sense. They have a hole at tight end. You give Mike Ryan another weapon to try to see what you can do. So I can't argue with that.
Let me say this. I understand it. It does work football-wise. You have a new coach. You have a new general manager. When do you give them the chance to build their own team? You can't build your own team with the previous quarterback because Matt Ryan's not going to be there throughout Arthur Smith's whole tenure. At what point is Arthur Smith going to get his guy? When are you guys going to pick this high again? You know what I mean? Like Atlanta picking 4 is not a normal thing.
That's not normal.
Yeah, last time that happened was Julio Jones. So, and that's almost a decade at this point. So, are you willing to take Pitts this year, right? Go 9-7. Watch Matt Ryan be okay, but not great. now you're picking at 18 next year. Then what?
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of think when you're in a position to get a quarterback and you have a quarterback who's not young and not Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay, y'all just do silly stuff. And is not that good, you get the quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, I'm even talking about my own team. You know, I'm good with giving Jalen Hurts his chance. But I'm
Yeah,
saying
I think you should.
if we were picking 4, my mind might be different.
Yeah, no, even when you're at 6, if Fields slipped to 6, I'm like, you take Fields.
Exactly.
To
Me
if
too.
y'all stayed at 6 and he got there, you
He
take
slipped.
Fields.
Yeah,
You just do that.
exactly.
You do
That's
that.
the difference. If he slipped, I was okay with it.
Yeah.
I would not want to move. I didn't want to trade up for him
Yeah,
because
you
we have
don't trade
other
up or nothing
issues.
like that. But
No,
if he
I'm
comes,
like,
if
okay,
he
instead of putting in all these assets to get a quarterback, how about we find out about the young guy we have right now? But if we were at 4 or we were at 3, I'd be talking about Justin Fields to the Eagles a whole lot more, right?
Yeah.
But like for because the Eagles are just like the Falcons. We don't pick this high this often. So you have to, well, we're not again, but whatever.
Yeah.
So you got to capitalize when you get that chance. So that's why I like you said, I've seen all the Pitts to Atlanta stuff. If you want to compete next year or the next 2 or 3 years with Matt Ryan, that's the way to go. If there's questions of how long you're keeping Matt Ryan, can you really gamble not getting a guy? Because I'm sorry, next year's class is okay quarterback-wise, but it's not 5
It's
guys. So
not
that
this
means you're
it's
going to have
not
to
this
trade
year.
up to
Yeah.
the 1st or 2nd pick. And that means you got to give up a boatload. So I think Atlanta, they could end up regretting not going quarterback, and that has nothing to do with what Kyle Pitts becomes as a player.
Yeah. And then you get the first team that we know is not taking a quarterback at 5.
5.
So and to me, it's either A, they address the offensive line, or B, they get Burrow a weapon. And from everything I'm hearing, Burrow is lobbying for the weapon, and he's lobbying for his guy from LSU, Jamar Chase, which that's hand in glove fit. I mean, then you're looking at an offense with Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins.
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon in the backfield. You got something. You got something,
but you got a quarterback on his butt.
Yeah, but see,
a quarterback running
funny.
towards ACL.
Yeah, it's very true. Very true. I mean, you got to try to work on that. You got to. I mean, and that's the other thing about the draft. I do say as well. A lot of stock is taken in that first round pick, but you got other picks. You can take an offensive lineman later, and you can build that draft. You're only going to get one player with that first pick, so it's kind of like you got to weigh that. Now, picking Penny Sewell.
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
that's not going to be a bad pick. That's going to be a great pick.
Jamar Chase is my favorite non-quarterback in the draft. But if I was the Bengals, I'm looking Joe Burrow in his face and I say, yo, we love you. You know that. I can't pick him. I have to get you to P now. I have to protect you and as an asset, as the quarterback of this team, and we're hoping for the next 15 years. I cannot pass up on a franchise left tackle and the chance to have you two together for a long time. Yeah, you know what I mean? They signed the guy Riley Reef. You put him on the right side. He already said he signed him, telling him he was playing the right side. To me, that was a signal that, hey, if Pinal's there, we're taking him. Now, if he ends up not being there, because I think if the Jets shock us, that's who they would take at 2, and that would be smart.
I agree.
Because that's protecting Darnold along with Mekhi Becton on the other side, right? Right? That would be smart. But if I would say, Joe, I'll go get you Tyrese Marshall in the 2nd round, or I'll trade back into the 1st to get him. I'll get you one of your old teammates.
Yeah.
But I got to get the left tackle, man.
That'd be smart.
Especially after you already tore ACL. Running for your life. Like he was running for his life last year. We watched him do very good, but we also watched him dodging the Dodgers like it was a shootout. and I'm just sorry, if he tears it again, his career arc could take a total shift. Yeah,
no, for sure. Penny Sewell is the smart pick. And then, like you said, I like trading back up into the 1st and trying to get Terrace Marshall for him.
Now, like you said, we all know he's fighting to get Chase, and we all know why. They've done great things together.
Yeah.
phenomenal things together. And I believe that same thing would happen in Cincinnati as long as you could protect him. And yeah, maybe you can get a left tackle in the second round, but is he going to be a generational guy like they say Penal Sewell's going to be? I can
Absolutely not.
always get a receiver. Even though I think Chase is a dog and going to be the real deal, Julio Jones the real deal, and it's been plenty of seasons they ain't go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like you could find a receiver. I mean, like I don't know if you could find a franchise left tackle in the second round. Sometimes it happens, yeah. But if you look through most of the league, a lot of times, a lot of the top tackles are taking early. I
Yeah.
mean, like Lane
Tackles
Johnson,
is
we've
one of the
had Lane
position
Johnson,
is
we've
one of
had
those
Lane
positions
Johnson
that
for we've had Lane
yeah.
Johnson for 12 years. We took him third overall.
Now offensive line is one of the and it's specifically tackles uh, are the one of those pedigree positions. Like you
Yeah,
take
like hold on.
the elite.
Tyron Smith. What pick was Tyron Smith?
I can't even. I know he was high.
10? That's what I think.
A top 10 pick for sure.
Yeah, that's
If
what I'm
not
saying.
10,
Like,
top 10. I know. I remember that.
Washington, he just left Washington. He's with the 49ers. Williams. Start, damn. Name is blanking for a second. Last name Williams. He's on the 49ers now. He forced Washington to trade him. But my point is, he's another early pick. Laramie Tunsil, an early pick. Like that's where those guys go. Orlando
Yeah,
Pace. That's where you get them. Like I know you can find guys later, like, but if we were talking about a guard or a safety, all right, a little different. Even then, like look at the Colts. Steven, what's his the center, Steven Nelson, top 10 pick, and he plays like one. Like yeah, you can find guys
Now
another.
Sewell's gonna be that one of those guys, and he's almost and to be able to say that in and of itself, that means he should be the pick. Like just being able to say he's gonna be one of those guys is you know, and you got two, but and even with having two, that two tackles that are both thought of as generational players, Sewell's the obvious better
He's
one.
the one. Yeah, like they say Slater's very good too, but no one ever talks about Slater being with him.
Yeah,
Ever.
exactly.
Like, that's why I think Cincinnati at 5. I understand the flash of Jamar Chase. I love that kid. I wanted him in Philly so bad. But if I'm the Bengals, I'm committing malpractice if I take Jamar Chase over Penal Sewell.
Yeah, I can't disagree. Like I said, the buzz is Chase, but I think Sewell will be the smart pick. But and then, like you said, like just to talk about the Jets for a minute.
The Jets.
Now, two schools of thought. What you said about Atlanta, you could say the same thing about the Jets, right? New coach, new GM, could possibly want to start something new there. But my question to you is: we all know that Sam Darnold is a talented player. Can we all agree that? Because I think that's something that gets lost a lot with talking about the Jets and Sam Darnold. Is I think the consensus, if not the consensus, near consensus, is that he is a talented player.
I have no clue what Sam Darnold is. I think he has ability, if that's what you're asking. Yes. I think he could be productive as a franchise as a quarterback, but he's on the Jets, so we have no real clue.
Exactly. So sometimes you get those players that just end up with organizations that do not create a winning culture. I can refer directly to Matt Stafford. We've seen the talent that Ryan Tannehill, another good example. You see the talent that's there, but without the organizational structure to bring that talent along, you may never really see what that player could be, which is why I'm actually very happy for a player like a Matt Stafford getting the opportunity to go to LA.
Me too. Love it.
Like, it's like, because we know that he's the talent. I can't speak to how that talent will be applied towards winning. I don't know because I've never seen it, but we're going to get a chance to now for sure. And I feel a little bit like that about Sam Darnold. I feel like Sam Darnold is a talent, and we haven't seen it for years and years and years like we have with Matt Stafford yet. But
Mhm.
I've seen it. I've seen him be talented, but I feel like that organization is not a, a, um a healthy organization for a winning player. Like it's just not. I haven't seen any winning players come from that organization
No,
in a long time.
no.
That's what I'm saying.
Uh,
Like we just haven't seen it. Like
no.
and it's so
It's
it's
the
like
Jets.
is it Sam Darnold or is it them?
No, it's
I'm going
them.
with them.
It's them.
Yeah,
It's them. Like, hold on. We know it's not just Sam Darnold. How old are you? Real
I
quick.
am 39. I'm gonna be 40 in October.
Yeah, I'm 31. We don't have any like life experiences of the Jets being good, other than a little run with Mark Sanchez.
With Mark Jensen, which is to me an
Like,
accident.
and we're both in our 30s. Like, that's not Sam Darnold's fault. like
Yeah,
I
and that's what I'm
agree.
saying. And
I
that's
agree
why I
that
will say I don't know that picking Zach Wilson, as talented as Zach Wilson is necessarily an upgrade.
yeah, have no
He's
clue.
something new.
Have no
He's
clue.
something
It's something
fresh,
new.
but I
Yeah.
don't know if that's an
See,
upgrade.
I think now I'll say this. I think we're going to get our answer if it's an upgrade if they pick him because Joe Douglas has been there. This is not his first year. This is his second year. He didn't draft Sam Darnold, right?
Yeah.
But he saw him all last year, right? Now, if he takes a quarterback, that's him saying, yeah, we had issues. Yeah, we need to build a team, but he's not good enough to get it there. Or he's at least he's saying that guy, Zach Wilson's a little bit above him.
Better.
Because he knows he's been there. But if he takes another player, right, then everyone should assume that Sam Darnold's going to have a big season because it was not him. It's what was around him. Adam Gase may be the worst coach of all time. Just listen to the list of guys that have left him and what they've done after.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill is in Tennessee balling. Jay Ajayi went to the Eagles and won a Super Bowl. Devontae Parker is back in Miami with Brian Flores catching 1,000-yard seasons. Like there's more. Like Adam Gase is the issue. He's terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
should never get another. I don't even know if he should get offensive coordinator job. He should just be out of the way. Like it's ridiculous that they hired him after they saw how terrible he was in Miami. But Robert Saleh is there, and he may want his own style. Sam Darnold may not be able to run the offense he wants to have, right? So that's another thing to factor in. I kind of think they're going to move on, but I don't think that's because Darnold can't play. I think it's just because they have a vision and Wilson fits the vision more. But we will
And
see
I can
Sam
see that.
Darnold go somewhere else and probably have success.
And that's exactly why I'm saying like,
Denver
is that
would
really
be
an
a good spot.
upgrade? Denver would be a great spot. I like Drew Lock though. I really wanted Drew Lock to work. But
yeah, I wanted him to work. He didn't work.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's time to maybe.
Yeah,
I know it's
don't look
kind of
good for him.
quick, but it's kind of like you can see.
Yeah.
You don't
But that's what
always
I'm saying.
need the
Sometimes you
time.
can see it. You can see it. Like
Sometimes you don't need it.
it ain't there. I don't know if
It
it's
ain't
there. I
there,
like him.
especially
I
with the
like the
talent
kid.
he had at receiver.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
don't think
know
it's
they had
there.
issues. Their O line has some injury issues. I know they lost Von Miller. Like I know they went through a lot, but when you watch them, you kind of felt like the quarterbacks holding them back more than anything else. I never felt
Agreed.
that way watching the Jets.
That's what I'm saying. I felt like as long
I
as
don't
he's
do
been
much
there, he
watching the
has.
Jets, but
Yeah,
you know what I
but
mean.
he has been a bright spot for them to me. I feel like he has when
He
he was
makes
healthy.
plays.
The worst part about his tenure from his standpoint is when he caught mono. That was why. Like, what the hell are you doing catching mono right now, bro? What the fuck is going on? Now that was wild. Everything else to me, I've been able to rock with for him. I've been like, yo, they've lost, but I never really saw it as his fault.
Agreed. Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, like those are just some of the more interesting storylines for the draft. Um, I'm still very on pins and needles about my Cowboys pick. I feel
Yeah.
like I would feel so much more comfortable if we were somehow able to either get that number 9 pick from Denver or leapfrog Denver, because that's the only team.
Denver's not
Did
taking
I?
a corner.
I think they could, man. I don't know. I mean, I don't
Hold on,
know.
hold on.
That's the
They
thing.
signed Kyle Fuller. They signed
Yeah,
Ronald
they.
Darby.
No, I agree, but I just
Fuller
don't
and
know.
Darby, I can't see you taking another corner after signing two young guys
I
like
got
that.
them taking a linebacker. I got them taking a linebacker.
Micah
I got them
Parsons.
possibly taking Parsons,
Yeah,
but
that's a
I
fit.
don't. I don't know. I
Slater's
don't trust
possible
them.
too. I
Yeah,
feel.
Slater.
Yeah. That's how
But
I feel. Hold on. I feel that exact same way about the Giants, though. So let me stop. Even though the Giants signed Kenny Galladay, right? I feel the same way that if Devonta Smith falls,
they take him just based
they'll
off the
take him right
pedigree,
in
off the
front.
name, off the talent. Like that's why I'm worried about it. It's just the fact that Surtain to me is the best defensive player in the draft. To me. And that's also probably because of the hole that we have. I feel
Yeah, I
like we
got
have
Parsons as the best. Parsons the best in it.
yeah, I mean, and he might be, but I just feel like our need
I'm
for a
also a
corner
Penn
got
State.
me. Yeah, our need for a corner got me looking at him and J.C. Horn as the two best to me, and then I got Parsons and some of the pass rushers.
JC Horn,
But
man, I like him. I like JC Horn a
I
lot.
I the only reason, and this is my only reason for really putting Surtain over J.C. Horn, and that's a personal reason. I think that at this point, Surtain is more polished, I'd say, playing in Alabama and talent he's played against. And then also, I mean, that's nitpicky. We're talking nitpicky stuff at this point. And then also
South Carolina's in the same conference.
yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. It's nitpicky stuff I'm talking about at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just talking about going to national championships at this point.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm talking about. But then we talk about the synergy with him and possibly going and playing with in the same secondary with Diggs again.
That's what I
Those
think.
two have.
Yeah, that's
That's what I'm saying. That's what these are the things that are kind of making me lean Certain. I think if we're looking at just raw numbers and on
his father
paper,
too.
his father, but
They both
you can
got
say the same
podium.
thing about J.C. Horn. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but his
that's
dad
what
was
I'm
a
saying.
receiver. I was saying like he's the pedigree, like you're saying, the pedigree for Surtain is A1 from Bama. Played with your other corner already. Learned from his father, who was a very good pro corner. Like he's 6'2". He ran a solid he ran a low 4.4. Like everything's
Yeah.
there with Surtain. If we draft Surtain, I'm gonna have no problem. We got holes at corner too. But I do between him and Horn, the reason why I lean Horn is because Horn got that dog. Like when I watch him, he got that Asante
No,
Samuel, that Darrell Reeves, like that. I'm going to take
yeah.
the ball. Surtain got that. I'm a lockdown. I'm a good corner. Darius Slay going to be a very good player, but he might not be the big interception guy. Horn looked like he's going to take it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I lean him. I don't want either one on your team personally, but I gotta accept that y'all probably go pick one if y'all are smart. Y'all stay away from offense this year. Maybe O-line.
That's the only thing. Sean Slater is the only other guy that would
maybe
if we
O-line,
took him, I wouldn't be mad, but
yeah.
I would want to trade back up into the first round. And at that point, I would want to trade back up into the first round and take a safety. I would take the kid Morick from Washington. I would want to go back into the first round and get him.
Molden. Eric Molden from Washington. I thought you were talking about the kid from it's Trayvon Moore. It's not what. Are they both Washington? No, I thought
No,
he's
two of
Oregon.
them. Yeah, they got two safeties.
Okay,
Washington
so
two
it's
safeties.
him and Molden.
Yeah, in the first round.
Eric Molden.
Yeah, but I would want. I like
Moore is supposed to go in the first round. I pay attention to Molden more because I know he could be there in the second or the third for us.
Yeah.
We need another safety too.
But that's the only way. If we take offensive line, to me we got to go back into the and get that safety. I don't know if there's another corner I would want to trade back into the first round for.
Caleb Farley may fall some now with this back thing.
That's a good intriguing
now
thing.
I'm gonna ask you this: if you take Slater at 10, right? Would you take Fairley in the second round? Would you risk him being there? Or would you want him to trade back into the end of the first to get him? Because I think he could be there in the second round.
I think it's possible we do pick early enough in the second where he could be there. I'm not comfortable with it. No, I want to just take my corner because I feel like we need some help on the O-line. But I feel like our biggest hole is that number
Mhm.
one corner. We haven't had one in a while.
Y'all ain't had a number one corner since we had a number one wide receiver. Been that long.
Real talk. Like,
Same type of
and
thing.
the same way you guys had somebody that was supposed to be a number one wide receiver, we've had players that are supposed to be number one
Supposed to
corners,
be.
and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
lived up to it. Going back to Mo
Mm-hmm.
Claiborne, going back, that was our
Yo,
last time picking
when
picking
y'all
that corner
traded
this
up
time.
for Claiborne, I was distraught. I was like, they got him. Like Eric, I thought he was going to be the real. Yeah, he was nice at LSU.
Yeah,
And
I don't know what happened with Mo
LSU
Claiborne, man.
corners don't usually be bust. They usually be the real deal. Like, what
I don't know
happened?
what happened with Mo Claiborne, bro. To this day, I don't know. I don't understand it.
See, like, there's not a Jalen Ramsey corner
I
in
think
this
Surtain is
class.
the closest you could say to that.
Yeah, he's
Just
the
the
closest. But what
size.
I was going to say is Atlanta needs another corner too. So
Yeah, I
I
worry about
was
that.
saying if there, no, that's why I don't think you should worry. I don't. If there was a Ramsey, yeah,
Yeah, they would.
they could take him at 4. Surtain and Horn look like they're going to be Tre'Davious White, or Marshawn Lattimore, Xavier Howard level good, right? But that's not Jalen Ramsey.
Not
So
Jalen Ramsey. Yeah,
yeah,
not that
so
special.
for our teams, I kind of think both of them are going to be on our teams because I don't think Devonta falls. So I think whoever y'all don't take at 10, we're going to take at 12. Um, my preference is for y'all to take Surtain and we get Horn. But if y'all take Horn and we get Surtain, I'm going to be just as fine. But
Yeah, but I
it's
feel
time
like
to fix both of those.
that's the other thing. Taking either Certain or Horn is a reach for need because they're not the 10th best player in this draft. And that's part of the weird thing about this draft.
Now, I kind of think that's their
Because,
range. I think that's their range.
no, they're a little bit lower than that. Because if we're talking about some of these quarterbacks are not top 10
Oh,
players to me.
absolutely not. Trey
That's what I'm
Lance.
saying. So they're pushing guys down. So guys that are going to fall, like a Waddle is a top 10 player in this draft. And Waddle may slip past that. You got guys like Micah Parsons. That's a top 10 player in
That's a
this
top
draft.
10
He
player.
may he may slip down. So that's what I'm when I say that, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that, it's not a huge reach, it's a slight reach. Because if we're really picking legit the 10th best player in that draft, it's probably going to be a receiver, a linebacker, or offensive lineman. But because we need that corner, Surtain is perfect to me.
Yeah, I mean, it may be a slight one. Like they may be the 15th or 16th best player, so that's why it's not nothing to worry about if you pick them at 10. Uh, I feel like Surtain or Horn at 10 is a good pick, and it's actually what you should have done last year. But hey, if you get it done this year, it is what it is for your team. Um, I'm just ready for the draft to get here, man. Like it's
Yeah, I'm ready.
when
I'm
you
ready.
get this
It's that
close,
time.
it's that time. Like with these last
It's time now.
40 something days, you're gonna hear so many rumors left and right, left and right. Like right now, they say Howie Roseman he traded back because he doesn't think Chase or Pitts will be there at 6. And
Yeah.
that may be possible. Like if Atlanta does take Pitts at 4 and the Bengals do say F O line and take Chase at 6, that's exactly what's going to play out. I mean, at 5, that's what's going to play out. They won't be there at 6. And then the guys we're interested in are not guys you should have taken at 6. You can't take Surtain or Horn at 6.
At
I
6,
think
that's a reach.
I think you could take Devonta Smith at 6, but it seems like a lot of other people don't agree just because of his frame. I'm like, y'all crazy as hell, but that boy gonna be a
Man, I
beast.
don't care about his frame. I was
It's
watching him play
ridiculous.
football. See, his frame would worry me if he played anywhere else than Alabama.
In the SEC
Like,
period.
yeah, SEC. Let's say that. If he didn't play in the SEC school, I would worry about, he's a little small. But the dude played against everybody and won the chip. And not only did he play against everybody, he dominated everybody. He's here for a reason.
He was
I
on
don't
the
care.
same team as Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs and Jalen Waddle in 2019, and he's the one that had the most yards. Yes, they called Jeudy the best receiver, and he probably was. Yes, Ruggs was considered the crazy deep threat, and he is. When you look at the numbers, Devonta Smith had 1,200 receiving yards. And in the next year, he wins the freaking Heisman. Like, stop nitpicking with
Yeah,
good
it's too
players.
much. But
They
that's the
did the
problem.
same stuff with Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson last year.
Mm-hmm. And
If
that's
you
the
saw
thing.
what happened.
Justin Jefferson is bony too. He may
Yeah,
not be as small, but
not
he's
as small
bony.
as him, but yeah, he ain't no big dude. Yo, Odell Beckham, he ain't no big dude. Like, we're talking about a wide
Yeah,
receiver here. It's about route running. It's about speed. Like, he ain't
you
got to
can't
be.
touch these guys anyway.
Everybody ain't got to be DK Metcalf. I'm sorry. Everybody's not AJ Brown. Everybody's not Jamar Chase. Not all receivers have to be that. There are plenty of. Marvin Harrison is a Hall of Famer, and Marvin Harrison played at 180 pounds.
I said going about 175, 180. Yeah.
Stop, man. Let Devonta Smith.
Your guy,
Praying. I'm
Deshaun
Deshaun Jackson.
Jackson.
Yes, I'm praying that kid falls to 12. That's the only way I
Yeah.
don't want Horner Surtain. If Devonta Smith is there,
Yeah, y'all
I,
got to take. You got to take.
I,
Or Waddle. To me, either one of those guys, you got to take.
I could take. I wouldn't trip over Horner Surtain over Waddle, but that's just me because I feel like Waddle and Reek are too much of the same thing. But
Yeah,
Howie,
yeah.
if Devonta Smith is there at pick 12 and you don't pick him, it's going to be a riot in Philadelphia. I promise you. People are going to lose their minds.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
times
I mean, like I said, like you said, I'm ready for the draft, man. I just want to get this pick done. I feel like a lot of as far as just being a Cowboys fan, I feel like a lot of the problems we've had on defense will be solved with getting that number one quarter. Like to me, defense is like that. It's like a chain reaction. If you can't stop one thing, it's going to affect another thing. And that's why I need solid players at every level. And then I can move. We could take it from there. Scheme whatever you want to do. Just give me solid players at every level. And I think we need that at corner. So I'm ready to get this draft done. I hope we do what I think we're gonna do, and I'll be happy with that. And I think that we should go defense the majority of this draft. I feel like the majority of this draft should be spent on defensive picks. Like I don't even think we need to maybe later on take maybe later on take. I mean, I want to take an offensive lineman, like you said. I think second round, third round, we got 2 third-round picks. Grab offensive lineman for some depth. Make sure
you
that
can
we
use a
don't end
tight
up.
end later. But yeah, like the
Yeah,
Eagles too.
but
I think I want Smith at 12. That's the only offense I'm really looking into. After that, I need a linebacker. We need another corner. We can use another safety. Like you may need a future center because Kelsey may be close to retiring. But other than that, we don't need to be looking at much offense. Offense was not the
yeah,
issue. The issue was our quarterback had a mental breakdown, and our coach and him couldn't get on the same page. Like that was the issue with the offense. The defense had real problems. We don't have a linebacker that people even know who he is.
yeah, yeah.
We have one corner, Darius Slay. Thank you. We went and got a real safety with Anthony Harris. Ronnie McLeod is still there, so you don't have to rush for safety. Drafted Kayvon Wallace last year. Cool. But that cornerback position and that linebacker position is depleted.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, it's about that time, man. Let's get to this draft. Let's fast forward to the draft. But one last thing I did want to talk about before we get out of here. Um, we talked before about NBA trade deadline, some of the moves that happened, highlighted, by the Vucevic move, Oladipo ended up in Miami. I just want to kind of talk about the real, now that we've seen pretty much, I believe everybody played. I don't know if Rondo's played yet with the Clippers. I'm not sure. I haven't
George Hill
seen
hasn't either.
George Hill hasn't. So we haven't seen everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But and Rondo with the Clippers is a big one because I do think that he's going to have a big effect there. But of these players, who do you think has had the most effect, and who do you think will have the most effects on their new team?
Well, so far, I think Aaron Gordon fits perfectly with the Nuggets. Like I think that the way they're splitting him and Michael Porter Jr. and that whole front court, that was a strong move. I haven't watched the Bulls yet. Like I can't say much about the Vucevic move yet. I really can't say I've seen too much. Oladipo, this is going to be his first game tonight, so we'll be able to talk about that a little more going forward. But I think, we're still waiting to kind of see how it all comes together. Right now, it looks like the Aaron Gordon one is the one because that he fits that team really well, really
now,
well.
And in trade deadline, I'm also talking buyout guys too. So in saying that, I do want to talk about the Nets a little bit. I want to talk about the controversy that's been going on with the Nets. I'm sure you've seen it. Um, Basically, everybody's saying that it's a super team now. Um,
Now
Talk about
they're a super team.
thank you, thank you. But anyway, saying that how many players does Kevin Durant need, and he's the exact same thing that LeBron. Everybody was criticizing LeBron for. Um, and then Blake, coming out and saying that y'all been saying I've been trash for years. Now I
Mm-hmm.
come here and all of a sudden it's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I want to say about that. I'm a quote a great man. Great quote. You play to win the game. That's what we're here for.
I don't
What
have
the
no
heck?
problem with it.
What do you think I rap for?
I,
I'm not pushing this rap for. I'm not gonna just struggle.
mm, I got,
All right, first, number one.
first of all,
Number one.
Kevin Durant not even playing.
But number one, let me say this.
Come on.
Don't talk to me about Kevin Durant building a super team when he already joined a super team.
Yeah,
If y'all were gonna talk about
yeah,
it then.
yeah.
That's done.
Yeah.
We
I
already
ripped
know what
him
type of
plenty of
guy he
times.
is now.
I ripped him plenty of times. He was supposed to
Yeah,
be ripped for Golden State, not this. He did
exactly.
not come to this
Exactly.
team complete already. He came to this team to build this team. I got respect for what he's doing now, and he's not even playing. So
Exactly.
can we chill? Now it was already once you have Durant, Harden, and Kyrie, that's a super team. I mean, like it was that
It's
already.
done already.
LaMarcus Aldridge name bigger than game at this point. So people are remembering the name and they're remembering what he did and they're putting more into his impact, what it's really going to be. Blake got more left, and that could be one that swings the scales a little bit in the East, and that it worries me some. But people talking about Durant don't make no sense. Like, yo, basketball's always been this. Like, I've never understood people that talk about super teams. Like, it's all. Do you understand what the hell the Lakers had? Like Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy. That's 3 Hall of Famers. That's normal
Yeah.
basketball. Like Boston Celtics, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, what's my man name?
Parrish.
Well, yeah, Parrish. Like, stop. Like that's basketball. The issue was Durant left a great situation to go to a better one and an easier one with Golden State. But whatever, that's not what we have going on right now. Blake Griffin was not Kevin Durant leaving the Pistons. LaMarcus Aldridge was released for a reason. He's finished. He's on a big contract. Of course, he's going to go to a competitor. I'm glad they got him instead of Andre Drummond. Now that would have been that might have been
That'd
an
have been
issue.
different. Yeah.
Right? Like, I think people are just looking for something to complain about. It's better
Well,
when we have
no, my
teams
thing
that
is this. I think that people have a vested interest in seeing a certain team in LA succeed. And when they get threatened, they react like this. They react by nitpicking it and picking at everything. The Nets are doing what the Nets are supposed to do. The Nets are
okay.
supposed to create a competitive team and try to win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant wanted to play together, so they
Mm-hmm.
went and played together. And then um, Harden, if anybody, Harden should be the one that we're looking at and complaining about because Harden saw what was going on and said, "I want to go there."
I can't complain about him
No,
because
I'm not. I'm not going to
because
complain.
he did not say only trade me there. He was
Yeah,
fully open to coming in the Sixers also. The owner in Houston is the reason why he's in Brooklyn. The owner did not
yeah.
want to do no deal with Daryl Morey, and now he's sitting with a bag of donuts instead of Ben Simmons. That's his fault,
And
right?
and then
I can't. That's not Harden did nothing wrong. Like, he got out of a terrible situation. The Rockets were on their way to downtown. So why wouldn't he try to get out of there where he's in his 30s? Like, we don't know how he doesn't know how many more years of being that guy he's gonna be. Like, like, you can't say you want to see great basketball, you want to be entertained and be upset when teams are trying to build something, right? Like, I don't get that. Like, the Nets have a good team, but it's not a guarantee. It's not like Golden State. I'm sorry. Golden State,
It's not.
I
Golden
understood
State
the
was a
outrage.
machine. Golden State was a machine.
Yeah, I understood, and I was a part of the outrage with Golden State. The Nets aren't that. The Lakers aren't that. Like, there's balance. Like, the Nets are going to have to beat the Sixers. Like, they're not walking out of the East without a test.
Exactly.
Milwaukee will be
And the
there.
Bucks.
Yeah,
Like,
Milwaukee
yeah,
will
these are
be there
teams.
too. Like, you're not just,
Miami, I think will still be there when it's all said and done. I think Miami
yeah,
will
like,
be there.
it's not like Golden State. They're not going 16-0 and winning championship. No. Like, there's going to be a test. And in the West has the Lakers if AD and Bron come back, the Clippers, Utah, Denver's on the rise.
Phoenix. Don't forget about Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah, Portland's getting healthy. So this is nothing like a walk in the park for any team, not Brooklyn, not anybody.
Yeah, I think that the complaining is more just the names that they see and pop up. Like you said, name way more than game. But, and then now the new rumbling is a lot of the smaller market teams are upset with how the buyout market is going. But to me, that also has no validity because to take another great quote, if you build it, they will come.
They will come. Nobody was going to Brooklyn 2 years ago. Stop.
Exactly. Nobody was going to the Lakers before LeBron got there.
Thank you. And I told my dad, I stood at my dad and my uncle and them. I'm like, yo, they talk about, the Lakers always going to be right there. They always going to get the players. I'm like, before LeBron came, they wasn't getting nobody.
It's not about the market. It's about the players.
The players.
It's not about the markets.
Nobody is going in LA, but you're not playing in LA by yourself.
It's been years and years since the New York Knicks have gotten a player. They are on the cusp now of being a destination where a player could go there to want to win because they're building something. You have to build it before anybody's going to want to come there. It doesn't work like that.
Nope.
And even when you build it and they do come, that doesn't always work either. I can give you stories about my Celtics. We've brought in a few top free agents over the last years, and it has not worked. Like it just
Sixers.
that
we traded for Jimmy. We traded for Tobias. Kawhi.
It's not a formula. It's not any. You can't just drop one ingredient in and it makes.
The Lakers back in the day, they went and signed Karl Malone and Gary Payton to bring them with Kobe and Shaq. They didn't win. Like that, Miami did not win that first year. Dallas beat them. Like people got to chill just because they got on
the only time. And they look, and people that talk about this will point to the Kawhi going to Toronto thing, but Toronto built that. It was ready to go. They were a superstar away.
Toronto also benefited from some mishaps and injuries. I don't even know if that Toronto team wins a championship if Golden State doesn't lose two of their players. You know what I mean?
True. But I'm not going to take anything away from them.
Yeah, not taking that from them, but my point is, it's not a guarantee just because you have a bunch of guys. Except for Golden State, because that was different. Golden State was already a proven champion. Then they went and got the second or the first best player in the league. That's different. That's not what's going on right now.
If you build it, they will come. If Golden State wasn't Golden State, then they wouldn't have got Kevin Durant.
Yeah, like
build the culture, build the team.
If Giannis left Milwaukee, I know it's not possible, he has an extension. If Giannis left Milwaukee this summer and said, I'm going to Brooklyn, I'd trip. That's Golden State again.
That's wild. That's wild. Yeah, that's wild. But we don't even see that as that guy is not even out there. That's not happening. Yeah, no. These guys are building their team. Kyrie and Kevin Durant were free agents. They built their team, and then they bring in some guys that can help them. And there's nothing wrong with that.
They wanted to go. They just wanted to play together in New York. Brooklyn did the right things and were able to get them, like you said.
They built
a better culture than the Knicks, and that's how
they've had the players.
Like no one has. When is the last time somebody signed or wanted to be with the Charlotte Hornets? I know Hayward just got there, but just wait. Watch in 3 years when LaMelo is an all-star. They're going to be a destination.
If you build it, it's going to happen. Chicago. These teams are building it. There's teams out there doing the work right now.
Mm-hmm. If the Sixers needed a big man, they would have been in the running to get a Drummond, an Aldridge, a Griffin, because they have a team. But we don't need them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the Mets legitimately needed Aldridge.
And
Or
Griffin, they needed some bench
it's
guys that
not like
come
they
off the
got
bench and
them
do
as
something.
extras. Like, no, they did not have a big man. They did not have a bench. They still
Yeah.
shaky with a bench.
I think it's a lot of complaining about, like you said before, name way more than game. Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
everybody should relax. That this everything is working the way it's supposed to work. Free agency is working how it's supposed to work. The buyout market is working how it's supposed to work. These players that are on teams with these big contracts are supposed to be getting bought out and going to contenders where they have an opportunity to compete. That's how that's supposed to work. Nobody's going to get bought out from San Antonio and then go sign with Orlando. Why? What's the point? Why did I just
Might as
do
well
this?
stay to San Antonio.
That's exactly so. That's not how that's supposed to work.
No. Yep. We agree fully, man. I think people just upset over nothing.
Yeah.
I like
That's a,
the league is
okay.
competitively balanced, and that's all I asked for. When we had Golden State, it wasn't, and that bothered me. But we're not in that situation anymore. There are at least 6, I think. Brooklyn, Philly, Milwaukee, Lakers, Clippers, Utah, Denver. There's at least 7 teams that can win a championship.
That's 7 teams real quick you just named off that could all win the championship. And nobody's going to be surprised.
And
It's
nobody
not
be
upset. It's,
nope.
Any of those teams can win it. Yeah, I mean, I think the NBA's in a great place. I feel like what the only new guy here is Brooklyn, and what Brooklyn has done is they had a quick turnaround, and it's not even a quick turnaround because they've been building this. They just have the stars now. They have the names now.
Yeah, they were in the playoffs 2 years ago with D'Lo.
Yeah, I mean,
Joe Harris has been there.
Yeah, Joe Harris is like one of the holdovers, but he's been there for years at this point.
And Dinwiddie's hurt, so now when he comes back, that's when something may become like, oh, they got it. Like when he's coming off their bench, now we may be a little wary. But at that point,
I don't think he's
Blake
going to be there.
Griffin and Aldridge won't be there.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if Dinwiddie's there next year. I think they trade for Dinwiddie.
We'll see. But I'm just saying, like, he's a player that coming off the bench would give them a lot.
Yeah, that'd be nuts. That'd be nuts.
That's like a Jordan
the
Clarkson.
team is already nuts as it is right now, but bringing Dinwiddie off that bench would be nuts.
Yep.
Anyway, man, that's all I got for today, man. We chopped it up, man. We had a bunch of stuff to hit, and I think we hit everything. But anything you wanted to talk about or bring up?
Nope. We hit it all. Again, shout out to Roy Williams. Had a great career. All the North Carolina fans, we appreciate it. Like, we don't know. We hope it can be replicated, but yo, bro, you did your job. That's why we wear this right here. Right, we got a few of these in the closet. Like, you did your job, man. Shout out to a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, absolutely. Respect, Roy Williams, man. Great career, man. All right, so let's get out of here. Of course, everybody catch us next time and join in on the conversation. Check us out on social media, Twitter, Instagram, ABTDATSPRTSLIFE. YouTube, Facebook under About That Sports Life. Any emails, any questions, comments, concerns, topics, at info@aboutthatsportslife. And you can also listen to replays of our show on our website, www.aboutthatsportslife.com.
Peace.